शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Verse 239. ये वदन्ति इत्थमेतेऽपि भ्राम्यन्ते विद्ययात्र किं न यथा पूर्वमेतेषाम् अत्र भ्रान्तेरदर्शनात्. So Vidyaranya is discussing a topic of a Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam. So Tvampada is already discussed, Tatpada is also discussed, and now he is discussing a Asi, which reveals the identity between the both. And this topic has started from verse number 210, and right now we are under the discussion of this topic. Now in verse 237 he said, Kutastha Brahmanaho Bhedaha Nama Matra Drute Nahi. Means, well, basically this difference between this Kutastha and Brahman is really not there. Rite Nahi means, Rite means Vina. Means the difference between Bhedaha Nahi. This Bheda is not there at all between Kutastha and Brahman, other than the name, Nama Matrat. So, from the standpoint of a consciousness, there is no difference between Kutastha and Brahman. Then why are you using two words? Because there is a difference. Because there is a difference from the standpoint of a Vyavaharika. From the Vyavaharika standpoint, from the individual standpoint, the same consciousness is called Kutastha. From total standpoint, Samashti standpoint, same consciousness is called Brahman. So therefore, from Vyavahara standpoint, because there are two Upadhis, Vishti Upadhi is there, Samashti Upadhi is there, and therefore we give two names. Actually, from the standpoint of the consciousness itself, there is no difference between Kutastha and Brahman. So that's what he said here. And so, all this one Brahman alone, and therefore don't think of there are two Brahmans, Kutastha and Brahman, etc. There is one Brahman, and there is nothing other than Brahman also. That also is very beautifully said in verse 238. Akhilan Janan Maya Brahmayati. So basically you find all the differences. There was Brahman, there is Brahman, there will be Brahman. So other than that, whatever the differences you are finding in the creation, this all Maya, Akhilan Janan Brahmayati. Maya has created all these differences basically, and so basically Maya is having a good time now. So she created. There is nothing other than Brahman. There was nothing other than Brahman. That's how Brahman is Satyam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Brahma means what? Satyam Brahma means there was Brahman, there is Brahman, there will be Brahman. One cannot negate Brahman. And therefore, definitely other than Brahman there is nothing else. And therefore, so basically, one minute. So there is nothing other than Brahman, but Maya has created all divisions. And since Maya is Mithya, the divisions are Mithya. And therefore all divisions, including division of a Jiva, division of a Jiva Jagat, division of a Jiva Ishvara. Further, Jiva, some are basically oriented towards Arthakama. Some Jivas are oriented towards Dharma. Some Jivas are oriented toward Moksha. All Mithya. Why Mithya? Moksha is Mithya. Therefore, because, there is no bondage. There is Brahman. You want to give, when you say there is a bondage, okay, so there is something different from the bondage called moksha. That division itself is a Mithya. There is nothing other than Brahman. And therefore there is a seeker of a moksha, then there is a teaching, then there is a teacher, all division. Every word is a meaningful word, and each has its own meaning. And so teacher and student, division, natural division, that's not one thing. Teaching, Shastra, and everything. So called sadhana sadhya, seeker and sought, all are mithya. So Maya has a good time. So Maya basically, Maya Akhilan Janan Brahmayati. So Maya is having a fun, and that's how we are seriously, we take the things seriously and get confused. In fact, even if this knowledge is not clear, suppose that this knowledge is, Swamiji, is not so clear. But why do you worry? Why do you worry? Even if you know or you don't know, at least you know that you are free. There is nothing called moksha. Swamiji, I have to gain moksha. When will I gain? When will I gain this moksha? Forget about it. Just forget about all division between me and the moksha, division between me and the knowledge, division between me and the clarity of knowledge, all division simply at the level of Maya. So one thing is shown in form many. That's called creation. That's called creation. That is all Maya. And since Maya is mithya, all divisions are mithya. Therefore, and the basis of that, well, ultimately all mithya, but we see, Swamiji, all these things. Yeah, you see. And therefore the existence of all the Vedas is Brahman. The existence of all the Veda is Brahman. So Sadhyam is, okay, Brahman. Sadhaka, the seeker, is Brahman. That is Brahman. Well, thank God. Appa, ease is the essence of everything. And therefore, well, that ease is me. Bas, have that and enjoy it. Oh, but Swamiji, is that existence is not so clear. Forget about it. Where whatever they exist in this creation which you experience in form of a Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, all that exists, that is you. That's a reality which cannot be negated. Existence is something which cannot be negated. Name and form something which will be negated, because the very existence of any name and form is the Satyam Brahman. And therefore name and forms are mithya, Jagat is mithya. Divisions are there at the level of names and forms, and therefore even if suppose Vedantins should really relish that, even suppose this knowledge is not so clear, but it doesn't, really speaking, it doesn't have a, even if it is not clear, and I find a division, a difference between, or a distance between me and moksha, me and this clarity, me and the knowledge, is all mithya, literally speaking. That's what even Mandukya Karika also says. But anyway, so this is Mahayana Akhilan Janan. So very beautiful Vidyaranya says Akhilan. No, Khilam means something is left over. Akhilam means nothing. Asheshena. Everything, well, basically, all the people are basically deluded, confused. Okay. This is then in 239 Purvapakshi said, Wah, Muktatma, you are speaking so much. So when I look, so Purvapakshi says, when I look at these people who talk about this Advaitam Brahma, the self is Satyam, and everything else is Mithya, and etc. But I don't find you, oh Swami, I don't find you any different than the samsari. Basically, so I don't find, you say I'm having this knowledge, but I don't find any difference between you and any samsari, Ajnani. And therefore, this talk is very good. Advaitam is Satyam, Dvaitam Mithya, everything is Maya, Mayam, everything, that is very beautiful to talk about. But in really speaking, on a actual ground, when you look into a Jnani's life and a Ajnani's life, we don't find any difference. And therefore, Purvapakshi says that we say this knowledge has no purpose other than to talk for 1 hour. This knowledge has no, it is not going to serve anybody's purpose, neither for the teacher, neither for the student. Nobody will serve. I mean, the problem will be solved by this knowledge. So this is Paramarthika, this is Vyavarika, etc., etc. That is just for a talk. So Atra Brahmyante. So basically, these people who are talking about this knowledge also, talking about this, that this is a Paramarthik reality, I am a Paramarthik Satyam, and this Jagat is a Vyavarika Satyam, Mithya, etc. All this is Maya, Mayam, etc., etc. They are confused actually, and they are having in their head the samsara. They roam in the samsara only. So they do vyavahara in the samsara, etc. Atra means asmin loke, asmin sharire, in this body, vidya kim. Because people are atra brahman, basically, so people are confused. After when who talks about this knowledge also, they are confused, basically. They have a samsara in their mind, and therefore, asmin sharire vidya kim. What is the benefit of learning all these things? And so if we have some kind of a doubt, Vidyaranya strongly defends Advaitam. He says you can't say that there is no prayojanam. Actually, these verses we have seen up to 243, but I'm a little bit revising. So, well, you can't say that there is no prayojanam at all, because this knowledge does not make any difference at the gross level, at a physical level. No difference. Even behavior wise also not much difference. Only difference is in terms of a vision changes. Well, so therefore it's just an internal transformation, and therefore cognitive transformation. And so the way Jnani looks at the creation, body, his own life, and the Ajnani looks at the creation and his own life, well, all these things basically has a division. And that division, that kind of a difference, that difference between them is just at the cognitive level. And at the cognitive level, one cannot find any difference. If it is physical, one can find a difference. Cognitive level, what a difference you will find? So you cannot find any difference. And therefore you are saying that this knowledge does not serve any purpose, because you wanted the division should be even at the perceptible level, at the level of perception. Well, which will not be available like that. And therefore, so he says here, na yatha purvam bhrantehe adarshanath. So with respect to, these two topics, Atma and Anatma, basically, two topics are there. So, even though we say Atma Jnanam, but if you are clear about what is the self, definitely you are clear about what is non-self also. And therefore, these are the two topics we have. With respect to these two topics, a division or difference between the two people called ignorant and knowledgeable is there. With respect to Atma and Anatma. Like Ajnani also was saying earlier that, well, I was born on so and so date, etc., and so in so and so year, everything, and I will have a limited life. One day I will go away from this earth. And now this person, our knowledgeable person, wise person, well, he does not look upon birth and death in the same way, the way Ajnani looks at. Now this division, this is just at the level of cognition. How will you find a difference? How will you find a difference? So the behavior, etc., his lifestyle, everything is, well, you look, that is perceptible to you at a physical level. Suppose a Jnani also goes for food. Jnani also moves around for a walk, etc. A Jnani drinks water. Now you say Samsari also does that. Jnani talks. Ajnani also talks. So therefore, you just at the level of gross level, you want to find difference. That is not possible. This is a difference at just the cognition level. And so their perception about everything, life and about Jagat and everything has changed totally. That is the difference only one can have. After knowledge, no difference. Suppose a person is a grihastha. Suppose, this is just for sake of saying, I am saying. A wise person, suppose, is a grihastha. And his wife was quarreling before and he was getting affected. Now he is not affected. That's all. So the quarrel will continue. Quarrel from the side of wife. That will continue. Nothing will change. In fact, his body also is under the grip of prarabdha. Prarabdha also will not change. And therefore, in case it may happen so that his health might have deteriorated after gaining jnana. Possible. Yeah, because of the age, etc. Nothing, no change at all in the world. No change in the family. No change in prarabdha. Nothing, no changes except level of cognition. Pragnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sitadihkim prabhasheta. So he also wanted to know about all this. Arjuna also wanted to know. how does he talk and how does he walk and how does he sit and all that. He also wanted to see the differences between an ignorant and a knowledgeable person at the level of, at a physical level, at a gross level. And everyone will have that kind of a thing only. They want to see, the Jnani distinctly from the other people, but at the level of at the physical level, no difference. So anyway, so na yatha purvam brantehe adarshana. Yatha purvam. Just as earlier he was having some different notions. I will talk about it. So that those notions, misconceptions have gone. So regarding these two things, Atma and Anatma, so whatever the misconceptions were there, they were gone. So with respect to the Atma, the I, well, he says, I am Advaita. There is nothing other than me. And this Anatma, etc. is Mithya. At the time of, when he was ignorant, not at the time, but when he was ignorant, well, he was taking himself as a limited being. And the world, well, also he was considering as a Satyam. And so those two notions have gone. So Atmanaha Apurnattva Buddhi. So basically that I am a limited being, centered on the self. Well, there is a lack, there is a limitation, etc. There is insignificance, etc. Well, that is gone now. Inadequacy, gone. Centered on the self. Inadequacy will be there, but inadequacy at the level, at the center on self has gone. That's the cause of samsara. If you feel that you are inadequate, you can't sit. So then a desire arises to get rid of this inadequacy, insignificance, etc. will be there. And then that leads to karma, that leads to karma phala, that leads to punya papa, that leads to samskara. Oh, this is good, what I experience is good, this is bad, etc. Raga, dvesha, everything. Whole thing is born on just one notion that I am inadequate. Well, I am insignificant. And insignificance in terms of time, insignificance in terms of, place, insignificance in terms of, attributes. So you wanted, that's how people admire other people. Oh, what he or she has, I don't have. I also want to acquire. Some has some skill in music, some has some skill in something else. And you feel a lack within when you see a program of somebody. Oh, she knows much more in music or dance and this and several. So in terms of attributes, you feel inadequacy. In terms of time, well, definitely you will work for it. You don't want to be in the limit of time. Nobody wants to be, nobody likes a concept that I am a time bound. Nobody can accept it. So you will try. All struggle, that is called samsara. Struggle based on the notion centered on the self. That I am inadequate. Itself is born of self-ignorance. So this ignorant person has this notion, I am inadequate, first, centered with regard to Atma. With regard to Anatma, the Jagat, he has another notion. This is all Satyam. This is all true. The world is real. Not true, but world is real. These two are deadly viruses. Deadly viruses. It will bring a fever which has no remedy. That fever is samsara. And so life after life after life, 24/7 multiply 365 multiply whatever, the fever doesn't go. There is no remedy. You need a remedy. So the chikungunya fever also has a remedy. Every fever has a remedy, but this has no remedy. He is born with the fever, gone with the fever. Only remedy is this Atma Satyam, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. There is no other. This is at just the cognition level. So no change in the body, no change in his expression, no change in his language, no change in his family, no change in his surrounding, no change anywhere other than the vision. And so yatha purvam brantehe adarsanat, yatha purvam, as before. So pranti means this misconception, adarsanat, now he is not seen. So he does not have that misconception. Atma is apurnaha, I am insignificant, and world is real. That misconception is gone. Now he explains that misconception of a Ajnani in verse 240. And then he explains the vision of the Jnani in verse 241. Let's see that. ऐहिकामुष्मिकः सर्वः संसारो वास्तवस्ततः न भाति नास्ति चाद्वैतम् इत्यज्ञानि विनिश्चयः. What is the misconception of a Ajnani? Of course, we discussed, but he says in little elaborately. So, Ajnani has one conclusion. Sarva samsaraha. Sarva samsaraha means what? Aihika amushmika. So, sarva samsara means this drishya prapancha, this world which one experiences in form of aihika and amushmika. Means whatever is belonging to amushmika, we don't experience as such, but we know by inference. Aihika means ihe bhavaha aihika. Iha. Iha means this, which is available for direct experience. Amushmika is available for anumana. So one is available for pratyaksha, other is available for anumana. Both. But it is drishyam. Right? What is available through means of knowledge is all drishyam. And therefore, sarva samsara, well, whatever belongs to this world or whatever belongs to the other world. So, well, all this means whatever available here means this ihaloka dvaitam. Whatever duality, all that is there in this world, all duality there in the other world, vastavaha, well, this is all real. This duality is real, world is real. Well, the world which we experience or which we infer, well, all the celestial worlds, etc., they all are vastava, they are real. That is what the misconception of a Ajnani. So, what about the I, Atma, the observer? See, when you say this Drishya Prapancha is real and which is other than you, definitely, then definitely there is a Dvaitam. So when I and Drishya Prapancha, Druk and Drishya Prapancha are given the same order of reality, naturally we count it as a two, and so Dvaitam. So I am an insignificant being, and this world which is other than me is also real. And therefore what? Advaitam nasti nabhati. There is no such thing as Advaitam. So today's our topic is this. There is no non-duality. Later on he is going to say there is no experience of a non-duality and therefore there is no moksha, etc. Well, it's a very, very common doubts a person has. So right now he says Advaitam nasti. There is no non-duality. Advaitam na bhati. Well, I don't experience non-duality. And so both are real. I, who is a drishta, and this drishyam world, both are real, both are different from each other. And so both have a same order of reality, etc., etc. Iti ajnani vinishaya. This is a conclusion of a layman, we feel. No. Here ajnani means this is a conclusion of a literate person who is not knowing the vision of the scripture is called ajnani. And so they are our other philosophers. All other than we, everyone has a root in Dvaitam. Maybe Sankhya, maybe Nayayikas, even Vishishta Advaitin also. They definitely say Vishishta Advaitam, but it's really not Advaitam. Because they say this Prakriti is real, which is non-separate from Narayanam Brahma, etc. But Prakriti is real, Brahman is also real. Same way Jiva also is real, Brahman also is real. Jiva is non-separate. So, since it is non-separate, you call Advaitam. Oh, if it is non-separate, our non-separation is what? Well, there is nothing called Jiva. The entity called Jiva is due to ignorance. So, if the same Brahman with a Upadhi called Ajnanam is called Jiva. And therefore, Jiva and Brahman are literally identical. They say no, Jiva and Brahman both have a same order of reality, but Jiva is non-separate. And non-separate, therefore Advaita. But Vishishta Advaita. Ultimately, if you say Jiva and Brahman have a same reality, I mean, they both are real. We say Jiva is Mithya, Brahman is real. They say Jiva is real and Brahman also is real. Prakriti is real and Brahman is also real. I mean, this is Dvaitam only. And therefore, so-called Advaitins, Vishishta Advaitin or Shuddha Advaitin and all that, Vallabhacharya's Shuddha Advaitin, I'm going to prepare a chart and give it to you. Till then, we will not have that other class. But anyway, what I'm saying is, ultimately, this Advaitam, we are Advaitins, no other, Kevala Advaitins, we call. So basically, all people are Dvaitins. And therefore, if they are Dvaitins, definitely there is ignorance regarding the truth of the self, ultimately. And therefore, iti ajnani vinishchayah. This is a vinishya. This is a conclusion of a ajnani. Means, let us not take this normal ajnani, our lay people, etc. No, they are philosophers, other philosophers. So Dvaita Advaitvada and other Vishishta Advaitvada, etc. and Shuddha Advaitavada and other all people, Sankhyas and Nayayikas and Vaisheshikas all. So they have studied Shastra properly and they quote Shastra, but they don't know the purport of the Shastra. That the purport of the Shastra is just Mahavakya only, and that is identity between the two. Anyway, so this is a misconception of a Ajnani. What about the Jnani's vision now? So he says now in 241. Jnaninam viparitosmat nishchaya samyagikshate swasvanischayato baddhah mukto hamcheti manyate. Jnaninam asmat viparitah nishchayah. Jnaninam asmat viparitah. Asmat, what we saw for a Jnani, so asmat means from that whatever has been quoted in the previous words. That's a conclusion, misconception of a Jnani. That world is real and I am also real. I am different from the world, and that Dvaitam is real, and the experience of a Drashta and Drashya, etc. That is real. And anyway, so Uktat Nishchaya. So Asmat Uktat Nishchaya. Whatever has been, conclusion. Whatever has been the misconception of a Jnani. Compared to that, Jnani Nam Viparita Nishchaya. So for these Jnanis, definitely their Nishchaya, their conclusion is much different. It's just opposite to that. So even though Drashta and Drashya are basically experientially two, but there is one reality behind both. Drashta or Drishyam both are non-separate from the consciousness or Brahman. That's the only reality, etc. And therefore, so Dvaita Anubhava is there, but that is not real. That's what the vision of the Jnani. Samyak ikshate. So they know for sure. It's very clear to them, this kind of a vision. So even though they transact in this dualistic world, but their Advaita Jnanam is not disturbed at all. And we have given several times, different examples also. Like even if we see a rising sun, eyes reveal a rising sun, but my wisdom reveals that sun does not move at all, earth is moving, and therefore that sun doesn't rise, sun does not set, etc. Now this kind of a knowledge will not be shaken by the experience of a sunrise. Knowledge which is opposite, right? This is a beautiful example. Knowledge which is just opposite to the experience of a sunrise. Knowledge is sun does not rise. Experience is sun rises. So it's just opposite. So the knowledge with that the sun doesn't rise, does not set, that knowledge can never be threatened by a daily experience, in and out experience, which is opposite actually. What is that experience? Sun rises, sun sets. So that knowledge can never be shaken, even if you experience in an opposite way. So, like there's several examples. Like the stars basically are experienced as a small, but I have a clear knowledge that each star can accommodate thousands and thousands of earths basically, and therefore that knowledge once it arises, then a opposite experience cannot basically disturb it, cannot disturb it or threaten it. Same way, Dvaita Anubhava will be there. Even one person becomes wise who has gained the knowledge of Advaitam, that I alone is the reality, or the Atma is alone reality, Brahman is a reality which is non-dual. Well, that knowledge will never be threatened by the experience of duality. That's what he wants to convey. Samyak ikshate. That's how. So it is clearly seen by a jnani. This kind of a thing. The Advaita is never disturbed by Advaita Anubhava. And therefore, we always say what we talk about Advaitam is never opposed to Dvaitam. Several times we say also. So, Dvaita Sahishnu Advaitam means basically we accommodate Dvaitam. We can accommodate Dvaitam in Advaitam only when Dvaitam is Mithya. Otherwise we cannot accommodate. Dvaitam and Advaitam, if both have a same order of reality, then you cannot accommodate. Like light and darkness cannot be accommodated. Same way, Dvaitam and Advaitam, which are opposite, cannot be accommodated. If we accommodate, then Dvaitam must be Mithya only. So Dvaitam is Satya. So that is what. So Dvaita Anubhava will remain. This is also one of the question of our many people, after this knowledge happens, but still he experiences a food and he says this food is good, this food is not good, this is not. So this means he's seeing a food, he is seeing that means he is seeing different from himself, etc., etc. And therefore, Dvaita Anubhava is still there. Therefore, how can you say he has a knowledge of Advaitam, etc.? Well, Dvaita Anubhava will remain. It can never threaten this Advaita Jnanam. Okay, so Samyak Ikshate, it's an adverb. Samyak is an adverb here because it is used for enhancing the meaning of a verb here. Ikshate, seen. But how it is seen? Clearly seen. So Samyak is an adverb here. And okay, now the question is, who is liberated or bound then? Who is liberated or bound? Because you say all that is Advaita. That alone is a reality. And therefore, then who is bound and who is liberated? Well, depending upon the conclusions we have, we are bound or liberated. That's what he says now. So, Swasva Nishayataha. Well, Swasva Nishayataha. Depending upon one's Nishaya, depending upon one's conclusion, one is bound or liberated. He does not say that the type of experience causes bondage or liberation, because experience cannot threaten. And therefore, he does not say the type of experience basically causes bondage or liberation. The blame is no more upon the people, because you experience people. You experience basically behavior of the people. You experience the world. You experience your Rahu Dasha also perhaps. Anyway, many things we experience. So they don't determine my bondage and liberation. My own conclusion regarding me and the world makes me bound or makes me free. Dvaita Anubhava will continue for both, Jnani, Ajnani, both. Conclusion about this, what you experience, makes a difference. Conclusion about the person who is involved in the experience is oneself, and the other thing is other than oneself. Every experience has two factors, me and what I experience, the experiencer and the experienced. So both have same type of experiences. One has a different nishya, different conclusion regarding the experiencer and regarding what is experienced. That's the difference. And that is just at the cognitive level, which even cannot be observed in MRI also. And then therefore, same thing, everything same, nothing changes. That's a very beautiful thing. Swasva Nishayataha. What determines our conclusion is, well, ultimately regarding this Atma and Anatma, experiencer and what is experienced. So, regarding the Nishayataha, our conclusion of both these things makes a difference. Difference in terms of what? Bondage or liberation. So, Aham Baddhaha, Aham Muktaha iti manyate swasva nishayataha. So, one looks upon oneself as a bound, or one looks upon oneself as a liberated. That difference is based on my own conclusion regarding myself and what I experience regarding world. So, okay, there are two visions now. Yeah, two visions. Okay, tell us very clearly now two visions. So, what vision is there? What vision is a cause of bondage? Yeah, that's better. What vision is a cause of a bondage, and what vision is a cause of a liberation? Tell us very clearly. So we'll change our vision. Yeah, vision of the bondage is this. If I look upon this druk and drishya, well, as equally real, then I am too small, right? So both are real, that's fine. But one is insignificant and other is very significant. My God, it is uncontrolled, too vast, unpredictable, unsustainable. Well, the whole world. And so when I definitely then you will always under the threat of this drishya, basically world. And looking at the world itself, you feel bound. More you look at the world, more you find you are very insignificant. So a sense of insignificance centered on the self is the bondage. Even though you are not, but your own conclusion about yourself makes you bound. You change your conclusion that you are not insignificant. In fact, you encompass everything. What you see, what you experience, you in fact the truth of that creation is you. Even intellectually also. Intellectually. Why are you intellectually? Every knowledge is intellectual. That's true. But suppose if it is not clear that what I perceive, right? Drishyam, what I perceive, or what I infer, whatever, which I consider as other than myself, is not true. Just at the level of intellect, I am not saying the person is very clear that the self is really like this or I am like that. Even at the level of intellect, I tell you, still that samsara will have a very less impact upon you. Very less impact. The moment, this is what people do. The moment you experience something and which creates some kind of a negative emotion or something in you, or sense of a bondage, sense of a dependency, sense of insignificance, whenever it comes in your mind, say that, well, what I perceive is none other than myself. None other than myself. This is the level of intellect. I am telling you the samsara resolves. Resolves means, since the cause is there, ajnanam is there, so will again arise. But this is the way even to neutralize it. This is called antakarana shuddhi. This jnanam helps. Pujya Swamiji was telling it that this jnanam gives moksha, that's one thing. But jnanam also helps in antakarana shuddhi. That's what we all are doing. I'm sure that all of us have not done enough karma yoga and upasana and everything and sadhan chatushte sampatti, and then we have come here, or we just came out of punyam, etc., Ishwar Anugrah, and now we are basically purifying ourselves also and gaining knowledge. The knowledge itself is a purifier. Yeah, sadhan chatushte sampatti, karma yoga is there, but this particular knowledge, that what really I am feeling insignificance because of something you saw, and well, that's not true. The name and form, basically whatever are there, which creates some kind of a bondage in you, that's not true, it's mithya. Anyway, so basically when drug and drishyam, experiencer and the experience are taken of the same order of reality, well, then I am too small, because drishya prapancha is very uncontrolled, unsustainable, unpredictable, too vast. And so if that is real, I am constantly by this drishya prapancha, afflicted all the time. That's called bondage. So bondage is nothing but somebody has created some kind of a bondage in you. Somebody has not bound you. Our own vision about myself, my own vision about myself has made me bound. This is a vision of bondage. Well, and what about the vision of liberation? Well, that's the opposite. In that Dvaitam, which includes time and space and everything, I am the truth of everything. Whatever you think of, whatever I experience of, the truth of that is me. Advaitam. Well, time is me, space is me, or truth of time is me. The truth of space is me. The truth of the body is me. Truth of that body is me. Truth of the thought, my thought is me. What is that me? That is the me. Okay? That is the me. I, the consciousness is the truth. Because there is nothing besides consciousness. There is nothing away from consciousness. There is nothing without consciousness. There is nothing. There is nothing besides consciousness. Something is, consciousness is automatically has a pervaded it. Everything is pervaded by consciousness. Nothing besides, nothing away, nothing without. Therefore, everything is consciousness. Time is, well, you say time is, consciousness is. Time is not without consciousness. Time is not away from consciousness. Time is not, what is that? Without, away, and time is not, yeah, okay. So, not away from consciousness, time is not without, besides, okay. Time is not besides consciousness. There is consciousness and there is time. You can't prove time without consciousness. If you can prove time independent of consciousness, it is besides. It is besides. You cannot prove time without consciousness. You cannot prove time away from consciousness. Time, space, everything. So this is Advaita Jnana. Intellectually also. This is Advaita Jnana. Swamiji, when will I become clear? Forget about it. It's a Ishvara's job. Honestly, it's a Ishvara's job. He has promised several times in the Bhagavad Gita. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. So, pratijanihi, well, you give assurance. Bhagavan tells to Arjuna, you give assurance to the people. Whoever comes on my path will never get destroyed. Whether if one knows me, definitely is not destroyed because he knows the Atma. But one who is on the path, still he has not, achieved the goal of, me. Still he is not going to get destroyed. So it's all job of Ishvara. We should basically, whenever in the situation when you feel bound, insignificance, if people feel, or everyone feels, when you interact with the world, you are going to feel some kind of a insignificance, dependency, lack. All these things will occur definitely because I am a self-conscious being and therefore this is going to happen. Anyway, so Advaita Jnanam, well, basically if that vision is there, that's a vision of a liberation. So Advaita Jnanena eva moksha. And well, they say Jnani is compared to the, lion. They say like that. What is in the mind of lion? That has been told. A lion will not have this kind of a thought pattern. What is that thought pattern? Which lion does not have. And our wise person also does not have. Ekaha aham, I am a lonely. Asahayaha aham, I am helpless. Krishaha aham, oh, I am too weak now, very old now. Aham aparicchataha, I am unprotected. Swapne api, evam vida chinta, mrugendrasya na jayate. Swapne api, even in the dream, basically, evam vida chinta, this kind of a thinking. Mrugendra means Mruga means a animal. Mrugendra, or king of animals, let's say lion. So Mrugendrasya evam vida chintaha na jayate. Well, he will not have this kind of a thinking, thought pattern. So Jnani also will, when he says I am a non-dual Brahman, I am limitless Brahman, well, definitely, therefore I am lonely, will not have that kind of feeling. I am helpless, etc. I am very weak, etc. So weakness, etc. at the level of mind or body, etc. I am unprotected, etc. Well, limitless has no need of protecting from what? Sapne api. Okay, let's go to verse 242. Nadvaitam aparoksham chet Nachid rupena bhasanat asheshena na bhatum chet dvaitam kim bhasate khilam. So that topic is over. Now another important topic, a short topic. I mean, he discusses between verse 242 to 245, and here also Vidyaranya removes a very common question of a seekers of Vedanta who are studying, and still this particular doubt has not resolved. That doubt he is addressing here, very important thing. So let us imagine that a student is a seeker of Advaitam, etc. And he complains to the teacher basically. He says, I have Advaita Jnanam now because I have studied many things along with the Bhashyam and everything. And so Advaita Jnanam I have now, but still worry and the anxiety, that problem has not gone. And so I want to find out what is the gap between a knowledge and the moksha. Because you said if you gain knowledge, this you will get a freedom from worry, freedom from anxiety, freedom from fear, freedom from sadness. So that is moksha, freedom. So, but I have not gained. I have Advaita Jnanam and still I have not gained moksha. And you say when you gain Advaita Jnanam, that vision will give you moksha. But I have not gained. So I have figured out myself what is the problem. He says, student says to the teacher, that Advaita Jnanam I have, but Advaita Anubhava I don't have. So, right? This question we have, right? So, I mean, not you people are quite, evolved, but I'm just saying, generally you will find students will have this kind of question. So, he says here, Advaita Anubhava, I don't have Advaita Aparoksha Anubhava. Direct experience of Advaita I don't have. Advaita Jnanam is there, but Advaita Aparok, direct experience of Advaitam, non-duality, I don't have. If that happens, well, definitely I will gain moksha. So, even though I have Advaita Jnanam, so there is no Advaita Nishchaya. Nishchaya means I can't conclude that there is Advaita. To conclude everything is non-dual Brahman, well, I need to experience directly non-duality. Let us understand this question properly. So this is what he says. Okay, Jnanam you have? Yeah, I have Jnanam. I have Advaita Jnanam. I had done a lot of Shravanam, Mananam, etc. And so I have Jnanam. So he says both the things coexist. Advaita Jnanam is also there and Samsara also is there. Fear, anxiety, everything is there. So I should say I have Advaita Jnanam, but I have a Paroksha Jnanam. Advaita Aparoksha Anubhava, non-duality experience directly, is still not there. So this is a dialogue between a student and a teacher. So now teacher says. So what he says here in verse, you see, na Advaitam Aparoksham Chet. Well, iti Chet means teacher is telling that if your question is that that there is no experience of a non-duality, if you say so, don't say that. Well, that Advaitam is not Aparoksham, means Advaitam is not direct experience. That is what we are saying. Iti chet, if you say so, na, don't say that. Chidrupena bhasanat. Because this Advaitam, Atma, basically is always directly experienced in a form of a consciousness, Chidrupena. This Advaitam, consciousness alone is non-duality, and that non-duality is experienced directly by you. So don't say non-duality is not directly experienced. Non-duality is experienced by you in the form of a consciousness. Chidrupena bhasanat. So in of a consciousness, it is constantly shining. And if then teacher says, if I ask you, are you conscious? Well, you without even without even a moment, waiting for a moment, you say, yes, I am a conscious being, and therefore it is directly experienced. So in form of this aparoksha chaitanyam, in a form of a direct experience of a consciousness, you are experiencing non-duality only. That consciousness alone is a non-duality. So Advaitam alone is directly experienced by you, always experienced by you. Well, so don't say that. Students say, wait a minute, sir, wait a minute. Why? So what you say I can't accept. Well, asheshena bhanam. So asheshena na bhatam. Basically, I experience consciousness, all right, but not as a total experience. I mean, not as a merely non-dual experience. You are right. Consciousness is directly experienced. Okay, agreed. But that consciousness is Advaitam, non-dual. That experience I don't have. Because I experience the consciousness here in the body, I experience consciousness in the mind, I experience consciousness in my sense organs. So definitely I experience Chaitanyam directly, I agree with you. But not as a just non-dual experience of a consciousness. And so, well, I have a partial experience of a let us say you are saying it is non-dual consciousness. So I should say I have a partial experience of non-dual consciousness in form of a experiencing in the body, experiencing in the mind, experiencing in the senses, etc. So that non-dual experience is not total. Partial experience is there. Direct experience, I agree with you. Student says, I experience directly consciousness, that is true. But not just pure Advaita Anubhava. Clear? It's a partial experience of a non-duality. And therefore, since you say, well, when you have a vision of a non-duality, then you are liberated. Because you will not feel any bondage. You will not take yourself as insignificant being. Since you are non-dual, you are limitless. There is nothing other than me. But I have a partial experience. Direct experience of consciousness, yet partial. Clear? And therefore, I am not liberated. I have no Advaita Nishchaya. I have Advaita Jnanam. In mind, everything is there. Everything born of Maya and this and that. Sarva Maya, etc. Everything fine. So Advaita Jnanam is there, but still Advaita Nishchaya. I don't have a conclusion that there is just non-duality. So then teacher is telling, teacher means Vidyaranya Swami is telling, he is having a fun now. He says, wait, see. He says, you don't have an experience of a duality also in totality. Right? Well, right? Because this world which you are experiencing, but not experiencing total, what you are experiencing is a very fraction of the world, every moment. So you experience even duality also, the world, not in total measure. Therefore, you should not have a Dvaita Nishchaya also. You should not have a conclusion that, well, there is Dvaitam. Because you say you cannot have a non-dual conclusion, there is just non-duality. And that I can't accept because I have a partial experience of a non-duality consciousness, and therefore I can't say that this is just Advaitam, everything is non-dual. I can't say because I have a partial experience. Then you have a partial experience of Dvaitam only. World also you have partial experience. Is this world totally known to you? The student says no. Okay, and the world is duality? Yeah. So you should not have a conclusion of Dvaitam also, because that is also experienced partially. So you have a Dvaita Jnanam, but you should not say that there is Dvaitam only. Why? Because you are experiencing Dvaitam partially. Right? I think it is clear to you. And therefore, why can't you have if you say no, with a partial experience of a duality, partial experience of a world, I will conclude that there is Dvaitam totally. Then, with a partial experience of a Advaitam, consciousness partially in body and mind and etc., well, you conclude that there is Advaitam. What is the problem? Anyway, so then he explains that, in verse 243. Dingmatrena vibhanam tu dvayorapi samam khalu dvaita siddhivada dvaita siddhiste tavata nakim. This is the conclusion here in this 243 given by the teacher based on the previous argument. What is that argument? We saw that if Advaita Anubhava is partial, Dvaita Anubhava also is partial. Partiality is common in both. So if you have already decided that there is Dvaitam, Dvaita Nishchaya you have done, based on the partial experience of a Dvaitam, why don't you have a Advaita Nishchaya with a partial experience of a non-duality? That's what he is telling. Ding matrena vibhanam, experience. Ding matrena, partial. So, ekadesha matram we can say. So, you have a partial experience, and that is, partial experience is a common phenomena in both. Dvayorapi samam khalu. If partial experience is common to both, both means Dvaitam and Advaitam. Dvaita siddhivat, with a partial experience of a duality, you have a firm knowledge of a Dvaitam. That's how you are arguing. Everything is Dvaitam. You are not ready to say non-duality is a reality. Means duality is a reality for you. You have already concluded Dvaitam alone is the reality. Based on a partial experience of a Dvaitam. So Dvaita siddhivat, siddhi means a firm conclusion. Well, with respect to Dvaitam, you have a conclusion. Same way, Advaita Siddhi also you should have, firm knowledge you should have with for Advaitam, with a partial experience of a non-duality. Tavatana kim? Why are you not possessing a Advaita Nishchaya? Why it is like this? Like student is, looking at the face of a teacher. Well, he is not saying, I should do that. No, he is not ready. He wants to justify mithya samsara. The samsara which is not there, he wants to justify. This is Maya. This is Maya. What is not there, you try to justify that it is there, and there. So he wants to prove how am I successful samsari. Even after Advaita Jnana, he wants to prove that now. So he gives another argument in verse 244. Dvaitena hinam advaitam dvaita jnane katham tvidam chidbhanatva virodhyasya dvaitasyato same ube. This is real argument of a student. He says, well, nice, I am accepting some of your statements, he says to the teacher, that I experience Chaitanyam directly. Alright. So I have a aparoksha jnanam of a Chaitanya. Fine. Because you said, are you conscious? I said yes. So that is aparoksha. Okay, fine. So I am experiencing Chaitanyam directly. I have aparoksha jnanam of Chaitanyam directly. Aparoksha jnanam directly means aparoksha. But it is still not Advaita jnana. I have a aparoksha jnanam of Chaitanyam, but not Advaita jnanam of Chaitanya. Chaitanya is Advaitam, non-dual. That experience is not there. I am waiting for that experience in which I will just experience consciousness. Nothing other than that. Everything will resolve into that. I am waiting for that. So, Advaita Anubhava, is still I am lacking. Advaita Jnanam is there, direct aparoksham, well, fine, very good. But I have not concluded yet. I have not concluded yet this Advaita Jnanam, because Chaitanyam will not be Advaitam, because I experience along with the body, world, thought, etc. And therefore, Chaitanyam is experienced directly, fine. But that Chaitanya which I experienced directly is Advaitam. That I am not convinced. So, that status of that Chaitanya as a non-dual, well, that I cannot give, because for that I should have just experienced only non-duality, only Chaitanya, nothing else. But all the time A thought is, you say, well, thought is conscious. This is conscious. That is conscious. Besides thought, there is no thought is not besides consciousness, this and that. That does not convince me. That does not convince me at all. If consciousness is just non-dual, well, I should experience non-dual. Even though consciousness is experienced directly, no problem. That I accept. Aparoksha. Correct. Without pramana. Yeah. Very good. Self-revealing. Yeah. Very nice. So, if there is nothing other than Chaitanya, well, then Advaitam, but that Dvaitahinam Advaitam, well, I can't experience. I have experienced Chaitanya, but not Advaita Chaitanya. So as long as Dvaita Anubhava will coexist along with that Chaitanya, the Chaitanya Anubhava will not be Advaita. And so, as though I feel Chaitanya Anubhava is obstructed by these worldly things, by the world, thought, body, all this. And so, Dvaita Anubhava basically obstructs Chaitanya Anubhava, non-dual Chaitanya Anubhava. Chaitanya Anubhava is all right, but all these are there. Dvaita Vastu also is there. That Dvaita has to totally subside. Merely experience of consciousness. Then I say, yeah, non-dual. That should be there. We'll have to wait for 2 days, Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.